Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brews with Brian, a craft beer review podcast. Craft beer is beer that is brewed in smaller breweries, not these big corporate machine breweries that we're all aware of. Craft beer takes time and patience, and the people that brew this stuff care about the product they're delivering to us. On this week's episode, I'm reviewing Four Giants from Founders Brewing Company, Hoptimum from Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, and Maximus from Lagunitas Brewing Company. Again, you can find the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify, so don't forget to like and share. But let's kick this show off. And the first beer on this week's show is Four Giants from Founders Brewing Company out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Four Giants has an ABV of 9.2% and a rotating availability. The description from the website says, "We've made a lot of Imperial IPAs over the years and in turn have had a lot of arguments over which one is the absolute best. So to settle this one once and for all, our brewers mashed up four of our favorite recipes into a Ultimate Imperial IPA. Four Giants boost aggressive bitterness balanced by a malty sweet backbone, while huge aromatics come courtesy of the 7 American hop varieties." This beer pours a clear golden copper color with a one-finger head of thick off-white foam. The head has a fantastic level of retention, slowly fading over time to leave a little bit of a foamy lace on the sides of the glass. The aroma of the brew is very strong, of a wonderful pine hop smell, mixed with some other hop aromas of a citrus, grapefruit, and floral nature. Supporting the hop smell is a nice aroma of caramel malt and a bit of a breadiness. There are touches of booziness in the nose as well that mix with the rest to produce a somewhat dank and warm aroma overall. The taste begins sweeter than I would have anticipated, but by no means very sweet. Up front, there is a big showing of caramel malt and a doughy taste that is matched by some flavors of a light fruitiness of peach and tangerine. Up front, there is a decent showing of a pine and herbal hop taste that start out light, but they get very potent towards the end. While the sweeter peach and tangerine are moderately detectable up front, these flavors quickly begin to fade, being replaced by the big pine herbal hop. While the flavors move forward a little bit more caramel joins the tongue as well as some earthiness and grapefruit hop. The earthiness gets quite a bit more potent, and with a bit of booziness coming to the tongue at the end, is left with a nice, slightly sweet, and quite dank taste that lingers on the tongue. The body of the beer is rather thick and chewy, with a carbonation level that is on the slightly lower side. For the mixed dank booze and sweet, the feel is fantastic and makes for a very flavorful and slow sipper. Overall, this is a very tasty and nicely danked and boozed brew. I really hope that Founders continue making this. Founders, again, one of my favorite breweries, so anything they do I enjoy. It highlights some of the great characteristics of Double Trouble and Devil Dancer, but I don't know what the other two brews they're referencing are. Either way, it's fantastic. You got to try this one. Try anything by Founders. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. But overall, I'm going to give Four Giants from Founders Brewing Company 5 stars. And the next beer on this week's show is Hoptimum from Sierra Nevada Brewing Company out of Chico, California. Hoptimum has an ABV of 9.6% and a rotating availability. The description from the website says our brewers selected the finest, most flavorful hops, pushed them beyond their limits, and forged them into this all-new triple IPA. This reimagined Hoptimum is our hoppiest beer yet, providing a blend of tropical and citrus hop aroma that deliver a refined yet aggressive character. This beer pours a deep, burnished copper and capped with a finger and a half of fluffy off-white foam. Consistent retention ultimately fades to a slight, mostly bubbly collar and a layer of a thicker, almost soapy lace. Aromas of resinous grapefruit, pineapple, and mango are dosed with a lacquered floral tone opening up front. Candied tropical fruits offer a slightly sweeter edge over time, while a slight pine and crisp malt backbone reveal themselves further towards the finish. The taste opens with a honeyed orange and grapefruit peel, followed by decidedly earthier tones of mango and pine resin on the mid-palate. Slight caramel malts and citrus esters fade to the finish. The mouthfeel gives impressions of a medium to heavy body throughout, leveled by a consistent dryness, touches on syrupy at times, but will never overly apparent, but does give off a mildly discernible booziness from the mid-palate onward. The finish brings a balanced but burly bitterness and a swallow that stifles the boozier element some. A sturdy example of what a triple IPA that packs its punch while not letting booziness build to anything too cloyingly sweet. A nice balance overall with a depth and profile, and comes through reasonably well. It's a reliable and steadily drinkable option for this style. Again, Sierra Nevada's been doing it forever, it seems, and this is a pretty good beer, so give it a shot if you can find it. But I'm going to give Hoptimum from Sierra Nevada Brewing Company 4 stars. And the last beer on this week's show is Maximus from Lagunitas Brewing Company out of Petaluma, California. Maximus has an ABV of 8.2% and a year-round availability. The description from the website says, a raging mouthful of fresh hops and malt. This beer pours a clear, deep orange, slightly ambered color with a strong white and creamy head. Strong aromas of orange citrus, then some tropical fruit and pineapple with a strong berry aroma. A prominent berry presence here in this beer for sure. Pine is right behind it. Some candied malt sweetness lingers underneath. Lots of orange supported by berry and pine. Tasting this beer, it follows the nose, but with a strong malt flavor. Some candied orange marmalade with pine sprinkled in. More citrus and pine. Then some floral notes in the middle with just hints of herbs. A strong candied orange pineapple is next. Mostly generic candied malt sweetness sweeps through the end. It's got a medium body with average carbonation, a lighter body than I expected for an 8.2% beer. The lingering sweetness is notable on the palate. Overall, this was a delicious and sweet-leaning, flavorful double IPA. Lots of orange and generic candied malt sweetness, yet nice berry and pine to support it. But this is a really good beer. Lagunitas, another good brewery. I haven't had a lot of their stuff, but what I've had is good. This one's is the same. It's a good beer. Definitely need to try it if you can find it. But overall, I'm going to give Maximus from Lagunitas Brewing Company 3 stars. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Brews with Brian. I want to thank everybody for listening. The show is growing each and every week. So again, thank you for all that listen. You can find the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. So don't forget to like and share and tell your friends about it. Maybe they'll enjoy listening to the show too. But on this week's episode, I reviewed 4 Giants from Founders Brewing Company, Hoptimum from Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, and Maximus from Lagunitas Brewing Company. I want to give a special shout out to Southern Package of Sheffield, Alabama. It's where I buy all of my craft beers, so if you live in Northwest Alabama, you gotta check them out. They're good people and they'll treat you right. But that's gonna do it for this week's episode, and we'll see you next time.